What's up YouTube? This is Chuck, also known as Basic Land Shark from over on twitch.tv. Hope you're doing well. It's been over a month since the last video. I've actually taken a step back from content creation, so I apologize for that, but I've just been very busy with work and stuff. That's your channel update. We're going to talk about Modern Horizons 2 and the impact that it's had on the format since I've been watching from the sidelines. But not playing, so hopefully that perspective is valuable to someone. Let's get right into it, okay? Ragavan Nimble Pilfer, the price of this card is kind of a hot button for a lot of people right now, so we'll touch on that really quickly. 124 ticks. It dropped a little bit since I started the recording for this video. Done one or two tries for this video just yet and didn't like them, so we're on the third try now. So it just went down 2 tickets, but it's been over $100 since shortly after the release, and very hard to acquire for a lot of people. This is way above my rental limit, so I won't be renting this card anytime soon. Over $500 for a playset of a digital object is kind of absurd when you think about it, so it's causing a lot of people to not be able to play the decks that they want to, because it does fit into a lot of different shells and it's spawning new archetypes, and it's spawning new decks. Like Blue Red Delver wasn't a deck before Ragavan, really. It had fallen off quite hard, so that deck is back. Azra Saga, this is seeing play in the Hell's Kitchen decks, Amulet Titan, new Affinity, and the Tron decks. Obviously they're all running Azra Saga, so this card has gone up a little bit in price since we started making this video, so it's trending up currently. Endurance, this card is good sideboard hate for things like graveyard decks. Ignoble Hierarch, not the most expensive card. You can rent this for about $8 right now, but this version happens to be high. These old borders, they actually mess up the flow a little bit for being able to talk about these in descending order, so bear with me on that. But we'll get back to Ignoble Hierarch. The card does see play in Jund. It is seeing play in Zoo as well, alongside Noble Hierarch, in order to give more exalted. Murktide Regent, this card is in the Blue Red Delver deck that we mentioned a moment ago. It just asks you to play a normal game of Magic with a lot of instants and sorceries, which you would already be doing. Pretty good at multiples as well with the Delve. You exile cards, put +1/+1 counters on the one that's already on the battlefield, kind of what I mean. Solitude, this is a Death and Taxes style card as well as a blue-white control style card. Fury, this card is seeing play in Panza. Grief, it hasn't really put up the results that people expected it to, and that's kind of reflected in the price range. Otherwise we'd see it more in the $30 to $50 or 30 to 50 ticket price range, and currently that's just not the case. Dothy, the reason why this card is 10 ticks on Magic Online, it found a home quite nicely in Jund, and then these other black-red mid-range strategies that are abusing this card. So it is certainly a card that's seeing a lot of play, and that's reflected in the price range. Subtlety, this is kind of a control card. Void Mirror, sideboard card, does work against Tron. Saw Saffron Olive beat somebody in a match earlier with this card. I think it was Eldrazi Tron. He won the match. Damn, this is an Abzan card. Go ahead and shout out Co-Diamonds. Thanks for all your work on Abzan. Shark salute. Ignoble Hierarch again. Sanctifier and Vec. So this card is seeing play in the sideboard of humans and Death and Taxes, so it's kind of a hoser for black-red. We won't read the card here, but it just does a lot of useful things versus black-red strategies, which are actually a part of the format right now after Modern Horizons 2. Profane Tutor, look out for this one. You can get it much cheaper if you don't go for this version. That card is actually a 4 of in decks like Ad Nauseam, so it is seeing play as well. Chatterfang, sort of a nice commander card. A lot of people building the Chatterfang Squirrel General deck right now. Grist, There is a new build of planeswalkers with Karth of the Lion that runs grist, so look out for those two in tandem. Karth being a nice build around and grist being a nice powerful planeswalker for the deck. Cauldra Complete, or Cauldra Compleat, however you pronounce the card. This card is seeing play as expected in the Stoneforge Mystic decks. So they still run Batterskull. This card didn't replace that card, it's both. They still run some decks still run Sword of Fire and Ice, but most of them are moving off of Sword of Feast and Famine and running this instead. And if they were running Maul of the Skyclaves, then that card has been eschewed as well. Some decks running all of the above, so if you can fit them into the deck, kudos, but it seems to be that you just want about 3 swords for the deck, and this one definitely is having an impact, so kind of reflected in the price. Territorial Cavu, this is seeing play in a new, well, a slightly revamped version of Domain Zoo. So another card that's seeing play. Torok, not necessarily seeing as much play well, seeing about as much play as expected. So this card can see play in the rock style builds that have room for it. Might in fact be better than something like a Dark Confidant, but time will tell. No one really playing Garth that I can think of. Esper Sentinel, a few humans builds that I was looking into were playing play sets of this card. One build was actually just playing one, which I thought was a little strange, but I guess it was just like somebody trying the card out. Obviously the fetch lands are what they are. Reprint is nice to see. Asmarano, Mardikadast, and Akuldakar. This card is propping up decks like Hell's Kitchen, which have kind of made a new archetype in the format. Food, not necessarily a new strategy for Magic. Food decks have been in formats like Pioneer and Standard, but now in Modern, with the other powerful cards like Azra Saga from the set, and Underworld Cookbook, I think is the name of the card. Yeah, that's it. Persist. So this card has been helping out Reanimator strategies as expected. There's that new demon as well they got printed that goes in that deck. Thought Monitor is seeing play as reflected by its price. This is in the Azra Saga / Azra High Lord Artificer, you know, the Word of Invention style decks. It is an affinity card as well, so pretty cool that affinity is making a resurgence after being sort of underplayed and probably underpowered lately. Sphaloon, I know Nikachu's been messing around with Sphaloon in mono blue, and rightfully so. This card's pretty powerful. We did already touch on Sanctifier and Vec, which is seeing play. Imperial Recruiter, this is another humans card, and also the red-white Death and Taxes decks are giving this card a shot. I haven't really seen anybody mess around with it in Kiki Jiki combo yet, but I think that's probably not too far of a stretch as well. The arguments against this card, people are saying that 3 mana is just too slow to really have the kind of impact that you need to have on the game in Modern, and I can see that. I can see that, but it is seeing play, and that's kind of the point I was trying to make. For 2 tickets, I think it's kind of a steal though, so might be one of the sleepers in the set if you ask me. Archon of Cruelty, this was that, okay, it's not a demon, it's an Archon, so need to correct myself there. This was that Reanimator card that I was talking about. Card is seeing play, although a shallow amount. Scion of Draco, this is in that Domain Zoo deck that we talked about a moment ago. Yavimaya Cradle of Growth seeing some play in Green Tron, and also in decks like Yawgmoth Combo. Timeless Dragon, saw Co-Diamonds messing around with this in Abzan. I think that was a spicy include. Decks that can support Prismatic Ending are trying this card out. So the sorcery speed is something to keep tabs on. Too much sorcery speed removal can hurt in a lot of situations. So it's a little bit situational, but I think it's versatile enough where it is getting the nod over some copies of Path in some instances. Dragon Rage Channeler, this sort of is the de facto one drop for a lot of decks. The blue-red Delver decks and the Death Shadow builds are trying this card out to good effect. Karth of the Lion, sort of a nice interesting build around, enables planeswalkers or super friend strategies nice and well. Also, Cabal Coffers, not necessarily seeing as much impact as, not really having as much of an impact as most people expected. So nobody really running decon that I've seen yet. Chatterfang, nice commander card, obviously. Nobody really running Sword of Hearth and Home, so we're down in the kind of the doldrums of the set now. I have seen one or two mill lists with Fractured Sanity. Can't remember if they were Dimir or if they were mono blue though, off the top of my head. Titania, I know F Paulus was messing around with Titania in his Amulet Titan list right out of the gate, and put that to good effect there, so that's a place where it fits in. And now we're down in the range where a lot of these cards are just role players, but not necessarily seeing the kind of play that people thought they would. Thrasta not really doing much at 21 cents. This might be a pretty good spec, because I think this card is powerful and should do something. And at Mythic, I mean, 21 ticks, or 0.21 ticks, I don't think you can really lose on that. It's going to do something somewhere eventually. But this isn't really a finance channel. This is more or less just, you know, rapid fire my thoughts on these cards from Modern Horizons and where I've seen them popping up. So General Ferois, this is seeing play in a couple of humans builds that I was looking at, but not in very large copies, certainly not play sets, and does require a lot of other multicolored spells in order to function correctly. I think we're going to stop there, because most of these other cards are going to be more of the, I guess for lack of a better term, the chaff in the set, or the chafe in the set. So that's sort of my thoughts on Modern Horizons 2, and then also where the format is at. We can kind of look and see the metagame right now in the last 30 days has been changed, but a lot of decks are still pretty popular. Amulet Titan, still pretty popular. This version of Blitz that's been around with Expressive Iteration and the new copy of Dragon Rage Channeler seems to be another deck to watch out for. Black-Red Unearth, Black-Red Midrange, Orzhov Stoneblade with the new Cauldra Complete, or Cauldra Compleat. The Hell's Kitchen or Urza's Kitchen decks definitely have the appropriate sideboard for that. Living In making a resurgence due to Shardless Agent, another card that's in this build. Crashing Footfalls, kind of guaranteeing more ways to get Crashing Footfalls and two 4/4 trample rhinos. Enchantress is making a splash, so I'm sure Wizards is sitting back doing this, that they made enough powerful enchantments for that deck to become a thing. Humans, I know we talked about that. Black-Green Sacrifice or Yawgmoth combo, and good old-fashioned Burn. These are some of the decks that you got to look out for. Certainly, there's always a good mix of Burn on Magic Online. The deck just has a really good cost to win rate ratio, so a lot of people just stick with that. Control, always a thing. Niv to Light, still a pretty powerful deck. Hammer Time, and Scapeshift builds. The decks that I'm not seeing represented here that used to be more of a thing, Heliod Combo is kind of nowhere to be found, so the deck hasn't been putting up as great results in this new meta. It just could be that people are messing with the new toys. That could be a large part of that, but it's also a pain in the neck to play online, so people very quick to move off of that, and we're only playing it when it was the de facto best thing to do. So yeah, those are going to be my thoughts on the format. We're going to wrap this video up. I'll be back for another one of these at some point in the future, so if you like this, be sure to get subscribed. go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and interact with it in some way. Put a comment down below, let me know what you liked, and if you have ideas for a future video, please let me know as well. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter to know the next time I'm going live or if I've posted a YouTube video, and we'll look for each other next time. This is going to be Chuck, aka Basic Land Shark, signing off. Everyone have a great day, great night, wherever you're at in the world. Peace.